course, you're coming into this race as the lawman.
Sure.
He has that sort of a background, and maybe that's the appeal to vote for you. What is your background as sheriff and as someone who I would imagine forces law and order have for you in this race?
Well, what I would argue is as the sheriff, coming up through a year of 37 years in the sheriff's office, I've come through every rank. I have investigated every crime that you could imagine. But I also educated myself by going back to school and obtaining a master's degree in organizational development, which helps me to understand changing the culture of an agency or a group of people. I also attended the FBI Academy in Quantico, Virginia, where I met with leaders from all over the world. I had 4 months of sitting and studying with law enforcement leaders and administrative leaders from all over the world, which really helped me move into the field of administration. And so when I was a captain with the sheriff's office, I was in charge of our budget, and I oversaw millions of dollars worth of budget, deploying resources where it needed to be. And as the sheriff now, as the elected sheriff, I oversee a $120 million budget. And so when it comes to the finances of that agency, I have, over the course of 37 years, learned to come through with a balanced budget. And as the sheriff, I have been elected by all the other sheriffs in the state of California to be their president, to represent them. And so the core issues throughout the state are some of the things that I listen to, that I negotiate with people, and on a regular basis I'm talking with the Attorney General's office, the Department of Justice, as well as the Governor's office. And so what I bring is a depth that allows me to understand the nature of politics. It also allows me to bring forth the ability to work with people from all sides, different sides of the aisle, and negotiate and work on positive programs for the future of public safety in California.
Do you feel comfortable delving into the politics of Washington, D.C., and even the politics here locally that you have to address in D.C.?
Well, I have to tell you, as an elected sheriff, we deal with politics. And so I have on a regular basis worked with McCarthy and Valadeo and Nunes and others from other side of the aisle on a federal level. I've also worked with our legislators in the Assembly and our senators all up and down the state of California. So as an elected sheriff, I'm also in the field of politics. It's not just a law enforcement venue. I actually am working with politicians and dealing with issues of legislation, opposing issues of legislation, preparing documents that would help argue the point for law enforcement and for public safety, as well as different issues that face our community. Some of those issues, and maybe we talk on it today, deal with immigration and illegal immigration. I, as the sheriff, deal with illegal immigration, and how we cope and deal with that in the future is going to be very important for us as a country.
What does that look like for us? Because obviously being in California and being not terribly far from the border, we see a lot of illegal immigration in this state. How do you deal with that in D.C.?
Well, I truly believe that our national security is dependent on securing and closing the border. We need a long wall, we need a tall wall, and we need more measures in securing that border. But in moving forward, we also have to deal with the millions of illegal immigrants that are here. The Central Valley, we deal with illegal immigrants on a daily basis. Now, that doesn't necessarily mean that's a negative contact, but we do have to address the fact that we have many, many people that are hiding in the shadows. Now, who are those people? Are they terrorists? Are they criminals? Are they people who have fled other countries that are going to cause harm to people who live here? Arguably, I would say that that's true.
What does energy policy look like for you, and what should it look like for the state of California?
Well, let's talk about Kern. You know, Kern County produces 70% of California's gas and oil, right? Back in 1849, the first discovery of oil here in Bakersfield was the main stay point when it come to kerosene and the production of kerosene. And it was seen right along with the gold rush in 1849. All of that was taking place at the same time. But I think as we look for energy, move it into the future, you can't do anything without oil. You know, we have to have oil. I was talking to someone here, even just locally, about, they said, Sheriff, if you get elected, can you please get us and allow us to start pumping again? And she said, they say we have permits, but we don't get to pump. We don't get to pump the oil. Well, you can't do anything without oil. And some people would argue that green energy is the future, right? My argument is that if you want solar and you want wind, which has some value to some degree, you can't get rid of oil. And you definitely need to take, in my opinion, we need to take a look and a stronger look at nuclear. And so the future of California is going to rest with the ongoing support of oil production.
One of the biggest issues that seems to be when there's a Democrat in the White House has been building those water projects.
Yep.
I know that that's been an issue that Representative Valdeo, he's pushed for about as many things as possible to get the reservoir up north, Shasta Reservoir, trying to expand it as much as he can, and it just keeps getting shut down by the federal government. Are you prepared, if it's not Trump and you don't have a majority in Congress this next time around, to face issues of federal funding for water storage?
I'm a fighter. I have come up in a world where it demands that I'm not pushed around by bullies. I've dealt with bullies my entire career. But I've also dealt with negotiating with people who don't like me or have a difference of opinion of me, or a difference of opinion based on core issues. But I've been able to negotiate. And the reason that I've been able to do that is because you develop those relationships of respect. If you go in beating a baseball bat on the trash can lid thinking you're going to get anything, people don't resonate with that well. But if you go in with good, common, reasonable sense, that you can work with all kinds of people, hearing their issues, hearing ours. What I would do is I would say, let me come visit your district, Democrat district. Let me go visit. What are your core issues and why? But in return, I want you to come visit us. I want you to visit California. I want you to visit Bakersfield. I want you to see the issues that we're facing with our open border coming into California, with our homelessness and our mental health crisis, with water that has to go so many places.
We have great admiration for you coming down here to speak with us today. We really appreciate it, and we hope, should you be elected, you make that drive down if you're still living in Tulare County come that time.
Well, and if I get elected, we definitely will have an office here. I'll be here on a regular basis, and I would hope to develop great relationships with the people that are here and the respect on both sides.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Appreciate your time today. Yep.
Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah.